From Oshkosh Community Media Services, this is Oshkosh City Cable 10 and broadcast on 101.9 FM WOCT Oshkosh.
Welcome to Senior Savvy. I'm Jane Wells, your host for today's show. Senior Savvy is brought to you by the Oshkosh Senior Center, where it's our mission to enrich the quality of life for adults ages 50 and older. You know, every once in a while, life kind of throws us a curveball, and in those moments of crisis, we need to find out what resources are all available to us. Well, on today's show, my guest is Mark Weisensall from ADRC of Winnebago County, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about his philosophy, which I think is an awesome one, and introduce that. But first, let's just find out. Hi, Mark. Let's find out a little bit about you personally. Will you share a little bit about us and your life?
Oh, sure, Jane. I'd be glad to. I grew up in Fort Atkinson and moved up here to go to college in Oshkosh, and went to graduate school here too. And then I took a position with the Health Systems Agency for 6 years. And then after that, I started with Winnebago County and with the Human Services Department. And I've been there now for 31 years. So it's been interesting.
That's a while.
Yeah, so I used to be younger and thinner, and I had brown hair when I started.
I think we all have been, Mark. So what do you do in your spare time? Do you have any hobbies or interests you'd like to share with us?
Oh, sure. Spare time, I like bicycling. I like bicycling on the trails around here, and also the Elroy Sparta Trail.
Exactly.
I've done that a few times, so
been
that's enjoyable. And then we just adopted a dog from Kentucky. We just rescued a new dog from Kentucky who was on the streets of Kentucky for 2 years.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
wow.
he's half, his name's Indy,
Okay.
I-N-D-Y, like Indiana Jones.
Yep.
But he's a half husky and half shepherd, so he's a handful.
Yeah, I'll bet. Now, huskies don't bark, but right?
No, they don't.
Does he bark?
Well, the shepherd part in
The
him
shepherd
does,
part
yeah.
barks.
When we leave in the morning, he kind of whines in the window when we
sure.
leave. But we walk him a lot, and our goal is to walk him every morning before work and walk him a long time, in the evening, like a long walk. So that's been our hobbies right now.
Sure.
So that's good because the exercise is great. And
Exactly.
now that spring's here, I can get outside.
Right, exactly. And what a neat and neat thing to do.
Well, it's nice, and he would have been put down otherwise. And we have a huge backyard too, so it's like he's adopted the backyard already.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about where you're at now. The ADRC of Winnebago. First of all, I've learned that there's a lot of acronyms in this line of work. And what exactly does ADRC stand for?
Yeah, there really is a lot of acronyms, and it's the Aging and Disability Resource Center. ADRC stands for, and now every county in Wisconsin finally has one. We opened our doors 4 years ago here, and we have offices in Oshkosh and in Neenah, and it's part of the county structure. But we used to be, it used to be Department of Social Services and Human Services, and then we merged those agencies in the year 2000.
Okay.
And then in 2010, we spun off the ADRC, Aging and Disability Resource Center, and I'm going to use that acronym, ADRC, as we talk.
Right.
Those are a part of the Human Services Department. We're on, for example, in Oshkosh, we're on 3rd floor of the building here in Oshkosh.
Okay.
And, we're located at 220 Washington Avenue
in
in Oshkosh, right next to the downtown YMCA.
Okay,
so
excellent.
right there.
So a good location.
Exactly. And the ADRC is kind of a new concept nationwide, because it used to be, you know, there were programs that were separate for the elderly and separate for the disabled. And it makes sense. We tried to merge these together and have into a one-stop shopping place.
And actually, Winnebago County is pretty progressive with
Well,
that.
I feel we are.
Yes.
Yeah, we weren't the first ADRC, but we weren't
Right.
the last. We were kind of in the middle. But
Sure.
what is nice now is people 18 and over can come to our agency till the end of life. I mean, anybody can come to our department, can call, can email. But what we do is we didn't want to have separate waiting rooms for people that are physically disabled or intellectually disabled or elderly. So it's all one combined agency now. And the same thing in the Neenah office. Our Neenah office is on Commercial Street in
Yep.
Neenah. And the whole concept is one-stop shopping, and we want people to know us before they need us.
Exactly. I was just going to say that, and really that's what I was alluding to in the opening. You know, when you're in a crisis and your back is up against the wall, sometimes it's hard to find those resources to even know where to begin to look. So I like that philosophy of know us before you need us.
Exactly, because otherwise, when you're in that crisis mode, you're not thinking as clear. So what we try to do, well, things like this, like Senior Savvy.
Sure.
And I do a lot of outreach events and things like that, and public speaking, and we want people to know who to call before you get to that step. So you're not in, because then you're just making all kinds of decisions, and you're not...
and you're under the gun, and you don't know what all the options are and what's in the best interest and all that other stuff.
Exactly.
Right. So you said the location is on Washington Avenue.
Correct.
And so do people just show up at your door? What is the best way to contact you to find out what's all available?
Well, we get people, mostly the contacts are people that call us. And I'll be giving out our toll-free number, and I think you'll have it on the screen later. We have a toll-free number from anywhere in Winnebago County.
Okay.
And most people call in. We do get some emails, and then we get some people that walk in.
Okay.
And we do have a reception staff that's there from 8 to 4:30. And so when a person walks in, and they do get to see a human right away.
Right.
And between 8 to 4:30 at
Sure.
least. So
Yes.
they come in and they get a chance to meet with, we have information and assistance workers.
Okay.
And or as I call INA workers.
Right.
And they're kind of the key people in our agency that work with people that phone in. For example, there's like maybe Beth works on Monday, and somebody will call on a Monday about their parents or something, and then they call this toll-free number. In fact, for your radio people, I should give out that number. It's toll-free 1-877-886-2372. And that's toll-free. It's the same number from Neenah, Menasha, Oshkosh.
Anywhere in Winnebago County.
Correct. And what we do is, say you called in on that toll-free number, you would get one of our receptionists, and they would say, well, have you seen somebody before? And if you haven't, you'll get the INA worker, or information and assistance worker, who's on call.
Right.
And then, say it's Beth, like I said, that Monday. And then after that, Beth will work with you, and after that, though, you don't call in the toll-free number anymore. Beth will give you her number, and then you call her directly.
So you don't have to keep repeating your story.
Exactly.
You don't have to have somebody digging through the file trying to find out what's been done up to that point, because once you get assigned basically a worker,
Correct.
you have that worker following you through, which is so nice. So as our population is aging, and people our age might have parents who are getting older. So, and that's one of the things we're kind of the know you before you need us. So what type of people, why would I come to you, or what needs would I have that would be a good fit for ADRC?
One of the things is, I think probably our main questions we get, people call in, their mom or dad, you know, their parents are maybe in their 80s, and they're living at home, but yet maybe dad is not doing so well. Or mom is starting some type of dementia. So they want to find out what are the options available to them. And a lot of times it's housing. You know, maybe dad needs some type of, if not housing assisted living, maybe some type of service to come in and work with mom or dad.
Right.
You know, somebody come in to bathe them or cook for them or
Right.
provide them a home delivered meal, things like that. So we try to, our workers will work with the caller or the walk-in and help set up a plan for, you know, these are all the options available.
Right.
And they'll even make home visits, by the way.
Oh, that's
Our staff will
wonderful.
make home visits, and a lot of times they do go out in the home and they'll do that, you know, that family meeting.
I was just going to say, so if, you know, if I have mom and dad and I'm thinking, oh, I'm not so sure about this, it's kind of nice to have somewhat of a neutral person come in and assess the situation as well and just see if, you know, if what I'm picking up is correct or not, or, yeah.
Right, and those INA workers are highly trained, and they know all the services available, not just in our county, but statewide, and all the federal
Okay.
programs. And they also, just to let your viewers know, they do, you can, for example, if your kids are coming for Mother's Day, and they're coming from all over the country or whatever, and our staff will meet in the evenings.
Okay.
Or on a weekend,
So
as
off
long as it's by
hours.
advance. As long as it's
Right.
by advance appointment, we'll do
Right.
that. But otherwise, our hours are 8 to 4:30,
Right.
Monday through Friday. But a lot of times, you can't meet during those hours.
Right,
So our
exactly.
staff will meet with the families that are coming to visit.
And how nice, because again, there's a neutral, you know, a lot of times these situations get to be quite stressful.
Oh,
Especially
yes.
if you're already on your way to crisis or just coming out of crisis. And so it's nice to have that neutral party there to help make some recommendations, to, you know, lay out the resources without, you know, somebody feeling like I, as the sibling, am making all the decisions for mom and dad or whatever.
Exactly.
And how wonderful that they'll, you know, flex their hours and, you know, by appointment come on a weekend or whatever needs to happen.
Exactly.
That's wonderful.
And our staff, we try to be as consumer friendly as possible, and you know, really client orientated. And
Right.
it's just we're there to give help, and we
Sure.
are free, completely free,
Completely free.
and completely confidential.
Okay.
So there's no, everything is confidential. And I do want to point out, besides the information and assistance staff, we do have 2 elderly benefit specialists.
Oh, okay.
2 elder benefit specialists that work with people 60 and over on
Okay.
Medicare issues, on Social Security, on Medicare prescriptions.
Okay.
Medicare Part D is a big thing right now.
So if I just have a question about those specific topics, I can just call and talk to the elder benefit
Right,
specialist.
but go through the toll-free number.
Okay.
Is the best, because we have 2. We have one in Oshkosh and one in Neenah.
Sure.
And we have Joan Jaworski in Oshkosh
Right.
and Julie Nix in Neenah, and they will take the call. And sometimes it's just a one-time answer they
Yep.
need.
Right.
And then we also want to point out we have 2 disability benefit specialists
Okay.
that do the same type of work, but work with people 18 to 59.
Okay.
And they work also they both work in the Oshkosh office, but they
Right.
serve people countywide. But they'll work in, say you're denied for something for disability, physical disability, they'll help you go over that denial and try to get it overturned.
Okay.
And the neat
Help you
thing,
to navigate the system.
exactly,
Really.
because the red tape is crazy,
Yes,
as
I'm
you know.
sure. I'm sure.
And both of these benefit specialists, all 4 of them have attorney backups from Madison. And the
Okay.
state provides us attorney backups, so those are free also. In case the
Wow.
case gets sticky, the attorneys can back up our benefit specialists.
Very nice, very nice. I want to go back to your website, because you actually have a very great website. And let's give that address. So it is the www.co.wi.us//ADRC. Right. And there's a number of different things on there to click. And it's interactive, which is really kind of neat.
We're
but-
very proud of it.
Yes,
of
you
the
should be.
website. It's been
You
a lot.
should
I mean,
be.
it's been all the staff have been involved with it, not just me. It's
Yes.
it's a collaborative thing of all the staff of the
Right.
ADRC.
And one thing that was on there that I really liked was a video. It's kind of a testimonial about somebody who came in to use your services, who I think was at crisis point.
Getting there, right? She worked
Exactly.
with her mom and dad, and
Right.
with somebody in Oshkosh. She was just it's just an example of a consumer that worked with us and wanted to give us some feedback.
Sure. So it's a great video. So at this time, let's roll into the video.
Oh, great!
first heard about the ADRC when my parents began to age and I began to notice that they were having difficulties. And that I noticed it did not mean that they noticed it. And there are 5 of us, but I'm the only one in town. So I'm the one that sort of began to see that they were declining. My mother's health was getting quite bad. And while my dad knew it, he did not want to move and did not want to think about changing their lifestyle at all. And things got steadily worse. And finally a sibling came home to visit. And because they hadn't seen it for a long time, they said, "Oh my goodness, you have to do something here. We have to call somebody." We had no idea what to do. None of us had any idea what to do. Not at all. And I have thought about that because I'm a baby boomer, and so there's millions of us that I think don't know what to do. I had friends who had aging parents, but it's different for everyone, and there's no manual out there. I called the ADRC, and they immediately, right away on the phone, I felt comforted. So she said, "Do you think they'll talk to me?" So I talked them into it. So there was a day that Cindy was going to come and talk to us. And I remember it was a nice summer day. And my parents, being the generation that they are, they got themselves all dressed up and the house was all set. And really things had been very difficult for them. We'd had all kinds of falls and the house wasn't set up right. And they were now beginning to need to take care of each other, and that was not working out. So things were going badly. But that day that Cindy came, they got all dressed up and they sat down, and she sat down and said, "So, you two, how do you think it's going?" And they both said, "Yeah, it's going good. Yeah, it's fine." And I thought, "Oh, it's not going fine." But I tried not to say anything, so I waited a while. And I looked at my mother and I said, "Well, my mom hasn't felt well." And then it began to come out. And Cindy knows how to draw people out. And so the whole issue came out. And it was great because Cindy didn't say, "Well, I think you should do this," or "I think you should do this." She just said, "Did you know that this service is available to you?" Or that here's some options you could do. And so on that visit, she took a long time, developed a relationship with them so that they trusted her and liked her, and left them with a lot of information, and let them look at the information while she was there so they could ask her, and gave them a lot to think about. And it was a wonderful, wonderful beginning. But it was just the beginning. So we had that relationship started. But it was slow, and like with most people, it's human nature not to do anything until you have to, or until crisis happens. And it didn't take long for a crisis to happen, and my mother fell badly and shattered her hip and had to be taken to, she had to have surgery right away, and she already was frail. And I had called Cindy a couple of times, and every time she was so comforting and saying, "We can do this." So she'd come out to the place where my mom was doing rehab and talk with my mom and say, "Well, what do you think? How about this, this, or this?" And it calmed my mother down. Giving her just maybe 3 choices instead of a giant book of choices that she couldn't figure out was so helpful. And so my mother sort of picked her path and the way she was going to go. And we set that in motion. So my dad's path was a little more difficult, and he ended up needing to go into protective placement. So that was a whole nother set of people. But the ADRC, once again, had people there to talk him through it and to talk me through it. So it was not just my mother or my father or me, but my whole family needed the ADRC to talk us through this. They have always helped me all the way along. I just can't say enough. We're so lucky to have that. In my case, the ADRC is right down the street from my house, which is really great. That's even a bigger comfort. But it's available to everybody in Winnebago County, and it's a place that's going to be needed more.
So So what a great testimonial that was, Mark. And that's exactly who you're trying to reach, isn't it?
Exactly, the adult children of older people or just physically disabled people also
Sure.
we're trying to reach, and we get testimonials like that a lot, and a lot of times our staff get thank you cards from family members for helping them,
Right.
things like that. I also want to mention though, besides just that, we also work with kids that are transitioning out of high school.
Okay.
Developmentally disabled kids or intellectually disabled kids that are either going into the work field or
Sure.
into technical college or
Right.
college. We do also work with special ed classes and a lot of teachers and things like that. I meet with the special ed
Right.
teachers throughout Winnebago County.
To help get a plan for what their future
Exactly.
looks like, and what, as the years unfold, how will that child be taken care of if that's a need, or
Yeah, or what's really neat is a lot of parents and a lot of the younger adults, we do get them out into their own houses, so they have their own home, and
Very
with an electric
nice.
wheelchair,
Yep.
or attendant coming in, or even some type of home care coming in. So a lot of times they can get on their own and have a fully functioning life. So that's exciting.
It is exciting, and it's great work that you're doing, Mark.
Well, it's not me. It's just
Well, but
we're trying to all the
all of
staff
you.
at the ADRC. We're trying to help the world out one person at a time.
Exactly, exactly. So the woman that was in the testimonial, she
Tina.
she had parents that, like she said, she wasn't in crisis, but then all of a sudden she was. And so in order to get to know you before we need you, like I said before, your website is a fantastic resource.
Thank you.
And so navigating on there, it kind of explains different programs, and tell us just a little bit more about that
Sure.
website.
Well, the website is broken down into many different tabs, and we have a prevention and wellness tab, which we list a lot of things like classes that are coming up in prevention, like strong bones or powerful tools, or classes
Right.
that are coming up, and not just sponsored by the ADRC or county departments, but sponsored by anybody. We'll
Sure.
put their flyer on our website for that. But we also have an interactive, our resource directory. As you know, we have a very large ADRC resource directory that's free, and
Right.
in fact, this year it's 108 pages long.
Right, and it's in various places throughout the community. I've seen it in numerous places, and of course
Thank
we
you.
have the senior center have
Right.
lots of copies of
Right.
that.
Right. We've distributed now 14,000 copies.
Oh my goodness!
Each year we
wow.
do that, and we keep it updated. Robin with our department updates it when people call in with a change. The updated version is on our website, so she'll
Okay.
change it within the week.
So that is basically 180 pages of resources within Winnebago County, kind of categorized by what the need is, or the agency itself, right? And so as you think, well, there's nothing here for blah, 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 here it is.
Here it is. Oh, exactly. And it lists
Exactly.
all the assisted living places, all the retirement communities, all the transportation programs. We get a lot of questions
Sure.
on transportation, on health care. It lists all the clinics, all the any type of facility that's any type of for the people for the hard of hearing. Audiologists are listed.
Okay.
Everybody is
Sure.
listed in there, and that directory is very popular. But the online one is on our website, along with
Okay.
upcoming events. And I encourage your viewers to check out the website, because
Sure.
even before you even call the ADRC, and I know you put the toll-free number up, but even before you call, you should check out our website. And our website has a wealth of information,
Sure.
but we welcome the calls too. We really
Right.
want people to call us, and our workers are so knowledgeable, and they'll work with you on and give us your options.
Right. And I could see the advantage of checking out the website first, as it might help me to hone in my questions just a little bit more, so I'm not all over the board, or,
Well, we get
because-
that too, but that's okay.
Right, and not that that's a bad thing, but, it just, to even help me just focus where I think, the needs might be, or where I think we might need help and things like that. You just touched real briefly on something really important, and that's the whole prevention aspect of it.
Yes.
Because you and I both know that prevention is key to living healthy
Right. That's
as you age.
exactly. I mean, I view it as that's the future.
Yeah.
The future is people need to take care of themselves as well as possible,
Right.
Barring a catastrophe or an accident. But if they
Right.
can take care of themselves,
Right.
they can usually, or a lot of times, prevent things from happening or delaying things as long as
Yes.
possible. So we
Right.
do work with the county health department here, and they have strong bones classes, which are like stepping on classes. They're
Sure.
exercise classes.
Right.
And those are real active. We do have, we fund programs at the Oshkosh YMCA and the Neenah YMCA, swimming classes
Sure.
and outreach exercise classes. So, yeah, if people just would take care of themselves, and it'll prevent so many things in the future. And the main thing is they'll feel better about themselves
Right.
and healthier and much more dignified to take care of yourself
Yes.
on the front end.
Exactly.
But I have to mention also, in case there is a need, we also are the agency that does the enrollment for family care,
Oh, wonderful.
or IRIS. And family care in our county is through the Lakeland Care District.
Okay.
But and that's the medical assistance program.
Sure.
But actually, only about 10% of the people that contact us are interested in that,
Okay.
or even qualify for that.
Okay.
But we do the functional screen and the financial screen for medical assistance
Okay.
for family care.
Okay.
Or IRIS, which is I Respect, I Self-Direct. That's the other program. That's a partner to family care. And that's more for people that want to self-direct their own
Okay.
services. Where family care is you have a nurse and a case manager that works with you on
Sure.
things. But
Sure.
we're kind of the gatekeeper there, and we don't recommend one over the other. We let the customer
You give the information.
right. We let the
Exactly.
customer decide, and that's with all of our services. We
Right.
do not direct anybody. We let you decide what's best for you, and
Right.
that's the only way to do it.
But in order to make a really good decision, a person has to be educated, and that's where you guys come in.
Exactly. And
Educating and giving options and exploring and helping to make those hard decisions when we have to.
they're tough decisions.
they
and,
are.
And the goal is, like I said, to know us before you need us.
Right.
We want you to know all the options
Right.
to prevent you from, say you have some money saved and set aside. We don't want you to have to spend all your money,
Right.
or do it as wisely as possible so your money lasts as long as it can.
Right.
And our staff will advise you on the best options there.
Right.
Or they'll lay out all the options for you.
Exactly. So once again, because we just have a couple minutes left,
Oh, sure.
why don't you give us your toll-free number?
Yes.
And also your website address.
Gladly. Okay. Well, it's the ADRC of Winnebago County, and our toll-free number is 1-877-886-2372, and our website is www.winnebago, spelled out, so it's WINNEBAGO .wi.us/, I mix those up sometimes,
I know.
ADRC,
Right.
and all smaller, lowercase.
Yep. Right. So www.co.winnebago.wi.us/ADRC. Right. Wonderful. And I would encourage anyone to come on and check out the ADRC
definitely.
and truly get to know you before you need them.
Right, and we have a huge waiting room full of brochures and information, and we have a video library where you can check out things on caregiving, things
Sure.
like that. But we have a huge waiting room, and all the information in that waiting room is free to take.
Right. And I do just want to mention, because you talked about Joan and the benefits, elder benefits. She does have hours at the Oshkosh Senior Center, so
Correct.
they can just call the Senior Center to book some time with her if they want, or they can call the ADRC.
Right, every Wednesday Joan is
Yep.
here.
Yep, exactly. And you are going to be at our health fair that's coming up in May, aren't you?
Yes, I'm excited about that.
Yes, we are too.
On May 5th.
Yes, exactly. And so ADRC will have a booth there, so if anyone has questions, they can
Oh,
come
definitely.
up to you.
I'll be there myself, and we're
speak.
going to have all of our directories there, and all of
Wonderful.
our brochures,
Yep.
and a lot of giveaways too we're going to have there that day.
Right.
So it's going to be a fun morning.
Good. Well, Mark, you are extremely busy. There's a
I love
lot.
it though.
Yes.
I feel blessed with this. The job is just perfect. I love
Yes,
it.
you can tell you're passionate about it, and it's it's really good work, and it's
Thank you.
really helping people when they need it, which is pretty neat.
Well, that's what we're on here on Earth for. My mom taught me that. That's why we're here.
Wonderful. Good. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you coming on and being a guest on Senior Savvy.
My pleasure, Jane. Thank
Great.
you.
Thanks.